let's talk about some of the keys that you'll use when it comes to tuning 808s. Okay, so I had a question actually by one of the viewers of one of the recent videos, and it was asking me essentially how to tune 808s to samples. So why not dive in with this example? Now, this sample came from a producer, musician, I suppose, content creator that goes by the name of Beautiful Beats. Okay, so this is the fourth instrumental, the fourth sample of his that I used for my videos, and I'm just giving back to him. I think he's got some good videos, good content, some good music as well. And guys, check him out, why not? Okay, so first things first, if you're trying to tune 808s to your samples, we got to look at a couple of things. First of all, simply put, get the tuned 808 packs, sound pack right here in FL Studio. They're tuned 808s. I mean, you can't go wrong. They're all tuned 808s. Like, look at the list. It's fantastic. Of course, you can make your own, but there are many absolutely fantastic tuned 808s. So that's the first thing, okay? Second thing, of course, within the sampler, well, I guess in this case, direct wave sampler, but within the module, you can, of course, adjust your fine tuning right here. I'm not going to adjust this too much because I'm pretty comfortable with what we have so far. You can adjust by semitone, and of course you can adjust by fine bits right here with the fine tuning, okay? When you found your sound that you like, you know, amongst the various 808s, I would use a piano or a guitar to find the pitch by playing along with the notes. So I did that exact same thing. Now, personally, some people are better with guitars, some people are better with pianos. I personally choose the piano, and what I do personally is I'll just play along with notes. See, I've already found a scale that I like, but let's just say I reset this to the beginning, to nothing, right? I would play notes that I like. That kind of makes sense. Do these sound right? Okay, you know, I find some notes that I think are right, and I'm trying to give you a simple hack, okay? If you're not a great pianist, then you can dive in and just say, hey, I found 3 or 4 notes. Let me see where these notes fit. Choose a scale. I personally think F sharp major works really well. Perhaps the F doesn't always fit so well, and the B doesn't fit so perfectly for every single part of it, but it doesn't matter. That's one way, okay? Well, I just said a few different ways, but essentially the main way, or one of the first ways, is to use a piano. Find a sound that really just stands out with the music. Play 3 or 4 notes, find a couple of notes, 3 to 4 notes, and from there you should be able to go down right here and set your pitch. Set your scale for that sound. And then, let me mute this. And in this case, I'm using this driven 808. So I've got my scale set to F sharp major, okay? Just like that. That's one method. The second method, which is probably the first method and maybe the easier method for some, if you're not familiar with notes and you don't have let's just say the right ear training perhaps, or you're not confident in your choices, go to the sample and use the tuner plugin, as you see right here. Add the tuner plugin. It's so simple, and there you go. The default settings should let you know we got a G sharp and F sharp, we got a C sharp. Those are 3 notes right there. That's all I needed. I found those 3 notes and I decided that F sharp major was a good scale, okay? Let's look at the tuner and dive in much deeper to understand how to use the tuner, okay? Because this tool can be useful for a lot of cool stuff, all right? So what the tuner is useful for one, is detecting the pitch of samples and tuning acoustic instruments, for example, a guitar or maybe even vocals, right? All of this can be done within the tuner plugin. Okay, so let's start off here in the mode section. You see we have steady. Now steady responds slowly to changes in pitch, and the frequency detection is between F1 and E7. Okay, the tuner plugin includes a low pass filter to reject high frequencies. Guys, we only need the mid-range. We should be pretty much all right to work with the tuner, okay? With just the mid-range. Okay, the next setting in the mode would be, well, first of all, let's say this. Steady might be better suited for guitars, perhaps vocals, or some type of unsteady live instruments. I would say probably, possibly like this sample here. Okay, let's look at reactive. Okay, so let's move it to reactive. Now, reactive is a little different from steady in that it responds more quickly to changes in pitch, and the detection range of frequencies is pitches between F1 to C10. Now, in reactive mode, it may be best for tracking instant changes and in pitches for short snippets. So super quick sounds, quick samples. Probably you may want to consider using reactive because it's super fast, okay? As compared to steady, which is a little slower to respond to changes in pitch, okay? Some tools that may be useful, some instruments that may be good with reactive could be perhaps synthesizers or even maybe some sample sources, just depending on how it goes, right? Now, higher pitched samples like whistling may also be good for reactive. That's one thing to note, okay? So I'm going to keep it at steady just because the samples, it doesn't have too many major changes, but we're working with it with steady just fine. Okay. Let's look at the visual section, okay? We've got three functions here: basic, strobe, and orbit. Okay, basic, as you see, it will display the notes, the frequency, and the offset as a line beneath the detected pitch. As you see, it also displays the octave, okay? As you see right here, see that line right there, F#3, you see that line, it's slightly detuned up, right? It's a fantastic tool. Let's switch over to strobe. And now what strobe does is, of course, it displays the octave, it displays the name, it displays the frequency and offset as a strobing series of dots. But what's interesting about this mode is that the dots will come to a stop when the sound is on pitch. So as you see it slowing down, you'll notice it's coming to a pitch and holding that. Okay, now this sample is really wavy, right? So, you know, we can't really expect it to stop so abruptly, okay? Let's get that sample up there just so we can see that, okay? Let's look at the next mode because I think there's another one that you might like depending on what you're doing, right? I think this particular sample is not best with this because it doesn't move as much, but it's fine. Okay, so orbit displays the name, of course, of the octave. It displays the note name, the octave, of course, and the frequency offset, as you see, is a series of orbits and their orbiting names, as you see, right? So it's kind of cool when things really shift depending on your samples, guys. Try this out on different samples. You'll see this thing moving and shifting. It becomes more visual depending on what you're doing. Okay, let's move over to the right side of this particular plugin here, or this module, and let's look at reference, okay? So this is a reference for A at 440 hertz, right down the middle, as you see, 440 hertz. Now, this is the standard, okay? Now, change essentially perfect A to vary between anything from 480 hertz to 400 hertz. So this is just a reference, right? So it's perfect for working with detuned audio or perhaps narrowing down the fine tune of your sample or your input audio. This is your audio input. And speaking about audio input, okay? Right under the reference slider, you'll find audio, you'll find input. Now, this is only visible when you're using FL Studio mobile on a mobile device. Now, since this is currently FL Studio mobile on the desktop used as a plugin within FL Studio, you won't see that input option down at the bottom right here, somewhere down here. But when you select it, it allows audio to pass through the tuner. And so selecting this essentially when using the tuner on, let's say, the record panel, okay, you won't see, let's say, it essentially will prevent feedback when using an internal mic, okay? So again, simply because I'm using FL Studio Mobile in FL Studio right now, you will not see this because the input and any type of recording functionality for audio recording is not possible directly into the FL Studio Mobile for a desktop. Rather, what you would be doing is you would be recording your vocals or your audio directly into FL Studio, okay? I hope that's not too complicated, but long story short, if you're holding a mobile device, you should be able to see the input option right there. And of course, at that point, you can choose to select it or deselect it to allow sound to pass through, or select it so that you can prevent any type of feedback. Guys, thanks for checking this one out. I really hope this helped in a lot of ways. I just want to show quickly what I did again with the piano. This may help people again. Some people like guitars, some people like pianos. I think this is a great way to find notes. Mess around with the piano, find 2 or 3 or 4 notes, even if you don't have access to something like a tuner, which in this case we do, which is always super fantastic. But if you couldn't find that tuner, find 2 or 3 or 4 notes and see how they work, and then start to find a scale down here that fits those 2 or 3 or 4 notes, right? I found the F sharp and the G sharp and the C sharp, and I said to myself, okay, I think that's an F sharp, you know, let's look through. Like, you could literally just click through and find the ones that work. It's that simple. And so we left it right here at F sharp. Guys, again, like I said, thank you for checking this one out. Use the tuner to take your recordings to another level, of course. Join us by sharing your production, all of your productions, why not, you know, in our group chat. The Discord link is found in the video description, of course. Guys, winning with blends is Justin Blends. Dive deeper into tuned 808s and drum patterns with this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one, all right? Take it easy.